Hey bro, so I want to make this video. It's an early dividend prediction video and the cycle overview for Misty. So I know there's a few more days left, so it's tomorrow and then Friday in the cycle, but the cycle is almost over and we can now have a pretty good picture of how they will do. And so in this video, I'll walk you through the trades and my dividend prediction from YieldMax Tracker. But before we begin, first of all, bro, the video I made yesterday about Group C estimates, I am so humbled and grateful for all the positive responses from you, all the likes, all the comments, all the subscribers. Like, we literally went from 750 subscribers to well over 1,000 by now. Oh, wow, man. I am just amazed. So, with that said, this video is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just looking at this because I actually have Misty in my account. And I will tell you, I bought a few more shares. I'll tell you why and how. And just in general, I'll talk about where Misty is going and what I think about this fund uh, long term. And by the way, I recently made a video, kind of a cautious video about Misty and the potential issues with MicroStrategy. So be sure to watch it. But besides that, let's begin. So again, guys, thank you for all the likes and subscriptions on the last video, and smash the like button if you like this one. I'll be making more. I'll be making predictions for Group D altogether, and just like we'll create a lot more content. I'm almost done building this YieldMax tracker, but I'll talk about that in the end of the video. So let's begin with Misty. So current cycle will end in 2 days, and the announcement is in about a week. But so far, here's the picture we have. We've made $1.06 per share. That's total income so far. Okay, and because MicroStrategy has been kind of going down a little bit on some not so good news, even though Bitcoin is pumping, so the price is down, and that's why we have almost 300 million loss on the synthetic. Now this is unrealized loss, so unless we take the loss, it's as if it's not there, but right now it is there, and so that kind of brings the estimate down a little bit. And also MicroStrategy IV has gone down in the last few days, so that's also not helping. Okay, so quickly let's jump into predictions. And the video I made yesterday and today they announced for Group C. So there have been some variances between the prediction and the actual announcement, and I'll talk about that further down the line. But basically, so far the algo predicts $1.31 through $1.36 through $1.61. So an average of $1.45 per share, and I actually think it will be a little bit higher, and here's why. Okay, so last cycle they paid 237, but granted, last cycle was a very profitable one. They made $346 million, and that equates to 258 per share. Okay, now this cycle we're not doing as great. We're only up $1.06. Well, at least we're not losing money. But now I kind of have to jump into Group C. Okay, and I just made a detailed video about Group C, my estimates versus the actual numbers. But as you can see, my estimates were a little bit on the optimistic side. And so this is the midpoint of my estimates for Group C. And as you can see, most of them actually missed. And there is a good reason for that. That's still not accounted in the algo predictor, but it is sort of complex thing, and I want to show you. The example is Coney. So last cycle they made $1.46 per share, but I created this additional view, this additional tool. It is rolling P&L tracker. So year to date profit and loss, and as you can see, Coney lost $2.08 per share since the beginning of the year, since the cycle that ended on January 3rd, right here, and their cumulative loss was almost $300 million. So, and across the board, most of the stocks also didn't do so well throughout the year because of the tariffs and all of that good stuff. Okay, and that's why I believe their actual dividends were lower than my predictions. Okay, however, going back to Coney and this cycle, when I looked, when the cycle completed, I was like, okay, they made $1.46, almost $200 million. And my guess, like even before the algorithm was put together, my guess was 83 cents to a dollar. All right. And the prediction that algorithm made was 83 cents to $1.01. And it makes sense. They did pretty well, blah, 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 the high IV. So since then, the price of Coney has gone down a little bit and the IV has gone down a little bit. And so the algorithm adjusts and it lowered the estimate a little bit. But this is backwards looking. it's looking at it right now as if the dividend wasn't made or announced yet. So for the current cycle, we're going in the wrong direction. It predicts 46 to 56 cents, and that's based on 1 cent per share gain so far, but the cycle just began yesterday. So anyway, back to Misty. So in the case of Misty, $1.45 midpoint, in my opinion, is actually a lot more achievable. And one of the reasons is that Misty had a much better year. So they made 376. They didn't have a loss, unlike many other funds. They made profit for the year, $713 million total profit, $3.76 per share. Okay, and that's based on the latest shares. Okay, so a lot of people bought in. Like look over here. The previous cycle there were 134 million shares outstanding. Now there's almost 190 million shares. Like a lot of people are buying into Misty. All right, and even with that, the net income per share is $3.76. So I think in case of Misty, this estimate is actually a little bit on the conservative side, and I would, especially given that they paid 237 last cycle, and when they were losing money, like let's go back a couple cycles. So here they barely made anything, and this cycle they were coming off of loss of $2.09 per share, and so after that they paid $3.37. Okay, so let's look at the latest one, and I think they will pay maybe $1.75 this cycle. I think the algorithm is a little bit conservative, and keep in mind, since yesterday, I have not changed the algorithm. So what I'm working on right now is adjusting algo to the profit and loss. And by the way, so for the future, and I'm going to talk more about it later on in future videos and at the end of this video, but I created this table that basically groups together all the funds and shows their total P&L per year or year to date. And as you can see, most of them lost money in terms of total losses and losses per share. And also on top, we have basically the whole group prediction of the estimate where as we stand right now. Again, the cycle is not complete, but I will be integrating the rolling P&L into the algorithm. But so far it's not integrated. I have to really think hard how to do it correctly so we don't overshoot or really like underestimate the dividend. So that will be happening over the next couple of days. I'm going to still think about it, sleep on it, but just having an idea of how the fund is doing year to date, I think helps in the prediction of the estimate altogether. Okay, and so now let's take a look at the actual, like where we stand with Misty so far. Again, there's 2 more trading days, but tomorrow they'll start rolling their positions, and probably yeah, they're not going to touch their synthetics. Synthetics expire in about 22 days, so they got 3 weeks until the expiration on the synthetic. They're not going to touch right now, and they're actually down on the synthetic, down $320 million or $1.68 per share. It doesn't make sense to touch it now. So I went on Reddit. Bro, there's a guy who sold $395 puts on MicroStrategy. He sold 26 of them. That's like $1 million of put collateral, and he collected like 24 grand for it. It's all good, but will MicroStrategy hit 395 by the end of the week? I don't know. I have no idea. So today it dropped as low as 359, and right now after hours it's sitting at 370. And I was actually complaining, well, not complaining, but I was sort of unhappy last week. And I'll show you, like if we go back one cycle. Wait, no, my bad. This cycle is still active. So let's look at trades from last week. Right here, this is yesterday. So the 23rd. Actually, let's go to Thursday, because on Thursday, MicroStrategy MSTR was still like around $403. And so what they did is they rolled their old positions for this week, and the strikes they chose were 440, 445, 442. Like it was a pretty good day. The problem is they didn't roll a lot of them. All right, like if you look over here, there is 110,000 contracts, give or take. All right, and they rolled. I gotta do a total of the number of contracts. I think, yeah, that's a good idea. Add the total number of contracts, but I believe they there's like 20,000, maybe a little bit more, that they rolled on Thursday. And then on Friday, the MicroStrategy price dropped significantly. It dropped to like 370-ish. And so now They bought the old contracts back for like nothing. Look at this. They bought it back for 9 cents, 8 cents. So they made a lot of money on that stuff. But then they sold most of the contracts in the $400 range. And so I was like, some were even like 390 strike. That's pretty crazy. I just want to make sure this is a okay, buy, short, sell. Yeah, this wasn't synthetics. This wasn't synthetic. But 390 was kind of risky in the beginning of, or rather end of last week, because MSTR can jump like 10% in one day, and it would wipe us out. Like if MicroStrategy goes above our strikes, so look at our strikes right now. Actually, we gotta show more. Okay, so most strikes are below $410. So there's a big chunk at 410. Okay, and a smaller chunk, like a quarter of the position at 405, another quarter at 400, and there's even like 385, 390, and I believe they did that today, 395. So I find, well, no, 390 is the synthetic, so never mind. Yeah, so these are our weeklies: 390, 395, 400, 405, 410. They bought a long call for 445. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Okay, but I was sort of not happy with this stuff, but at this point, will MicroStrategy go to $400? I don't know. Like Bitcoin was pumping last week. This week it's kind of slamming the brakes. At least it's not dropping. And so right now, overall MicroStrategy is looking a little bit safer, but I still don't like the low position, the low strikes that they chose. Now they went for the money, obviously. So today's trades, they made another $5 million, but so I believe this is synthetic. Yeah, so they added to the synthetic 1,400 contracts, and they rolled. So they bought back this week's contract and they rolled it to next week, and they collected 366 per share. But wow, man, this is dangerous. 400, 385. Well, 385 is expiring this Friday, so that's a little safer, but kind of risky. I'm not liking it. They bought back the 412, and they sold. I have no idea what they sold because this is 940. Anyway, if MSTR stays below $400, we're gonna be all right this week. Hopefully, it goes to like 385, because that's our lowest strike right now for this week, by the way, and then they can roll at a higher strike for the next week, and we can make money and not lose our shirt. But yeah, this week I'm not liking it. This $210 million could turn into a net, this profit could turn into a loss, and yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to comment on that, but back to the estimate. I think they'll actually pay a little bit more than the algo predicts, and this is without including the rolling P&L. But we'll see. We'll see on Friday, and once the week is over, I will make a final prediction video. Then we'll have a full picture. If the MicroStrategy jumps above 400, we're going to this is going to turn red, and then we're going to cry, and then we'll probably be below $1.50. Yeah. Okay. So now, I said I bought a few shares of MSTY, and what happened last week, I bought some puts on SolarEdge. Okay, the stock jumped to like $22 from a 15 couple weeks before, and there was no real catalyst. So I'm like, okay, it's been range bound under $20, and all of a sudden it's like 22. And I just bought a few puts, and then on Monday Trump announces 50% tariffs on Europe and the big beautiful bill. And in the big beautiful bill, there is no funding for the solar incentives like tax credits and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, SolarEdge collapses to like below $15, and I'm like, now my puts are on profit, and so my puts were like for $16, very risky. They were kind of cheap, but and they were only a month away, and I almost sold them the day before for like 5 cents per share profit. And the good thing I didn't get a sign, because the next day, like, that announcement came and they shot up to like $2 from 46 cents. And so I made a couple bucks on that, and I bought a few more shares of MSTY. So that's the long story short. Now, I like MSTY. I still think that the how MicroStrategy runs is presenting a risk, but doing more research, that, and again, not financial advice, but that risk is sort of pushed back in time, most of it into the 2028. So we got a couple years of, I believe, pretty decent, uh, pretty decent returns on Misty. And after that, we'll see. But by then, Misty should pay for itself, at least in theory, and I will all be retiring on a private island somewhere, and everything will be good. And then whatever happens, we'll see. Now, one of the comments, bro, in my video, and so the guy believes that this cycle for Bitcoin will hit 175K. And so, like, I personally don't think that will happen, but I often underestimate the excitement of the market and sometimes underestimate how much the market can drop. So I didn't expect 110 basically by January. So anything can happen. If Bitcoin really goes to 175, bro, we're going to be sitting very pretty with Misty, and MicroStrategy will be flying to some crazy heights. Um, if that happens, amazing. I'm not expecting it to happen. As for me, like, push back the crypto winter by a year. Let me get my money back on Misty, and everything will be good, bro. And then, like, if it drops, it drops. I keep collecting dividends. But yeah. Anyway, so I'll make a follow-up video, like a total group D estimate. I will not go into individual trades on MicroStrategy. I'll just do a top-level view, and I kind of like this predicting tool for the whole group, and it basically uses the same algo. Let me refresh. Maybe it already. Yeah, see, it changed. So what happens, guys? At 11 something, all the trades and all the holdings get updated, and so see, this page was loaded before the update, and after the update, the estimate went down a little bit because uh, something changed. Okay, so basically the way it works. Let me open this page right here. So this is our YieldMax page, and it basically has a countdown clock till the next dividend announcement. It shows like the funds that we'll be paying, bro. And over here, I have a tool, YieldMax Archive. Okay, so this downloads all the holdings and all the trades from YieldMax, and it does so. It's actually 6:30, not 5:30. I need to change this page, but backup started, whatever that means. Anyway, the backup has completed already at 11:15, the second backup, because what happens, YieldMax sometimes at 6:30, the file is incomplete. There are some trades and some holdings, but they didn't finish updating it. I believe the way they do it is they input the trades into the database, and then when you click download from their website, it generates whatever is in the database at that time, whatever, and then later on in the day they continue updating the database, and so that's why I do the second download to kind of have the full picture for the day, and that's why this estimate changed from $33 to $31, and on the high end, $63 to $61, because something changed in the trades or the holdings. I'm not sure what it was, but basically this happens on the fly, happens automatically. It gets updated, and with the latest information for the prices and the IV, and the price of the Misty itself, the price of MicroStrategy, it calculates the algorithmic estimate. All right, bro. So about this tool, bro, like, again, there was overwhelming support on the YouTube, on the last video I made, and some people were asking like when they can get access to this, they want to use it, and just in a couple of words, this tool is still work in progress. It's still not complete, not ready for prime time. It's almost there, and then I will be integrating it into DRIPCalc, our main website. And so, number one, on this page, on the YieldMax page, where we have like the standings of all their funds and how they're doing, returns and all of that good stuff, which fund performs better, which one is worse. Oh wow, Misty dropped to number 3 after Nefli. It used to be number 1 for a long time, best performer, but yeah, the price dropped a little bit. So, and Nefli announced today probably the dividends already updated, and Misty will be back in number 2 spot. But anyway, so all this YieldMax information is here, but what I want to do is add estimates over here for the group, just the numbers, and then so that will be free, okay? And then throughout the website, sort of sprinkle. So if you go to a Misty page, okay, so because it's a fund, it doesn't have any earnings. Over here, it just has the dividends, the yield, and the price. So over here, I'll also sprinkle some estimates and some tracker, YMTracker, YieldMax tracker information over here. So to kind of make this page a little better. And another thing, so over here, I don't know how well you're familiar with the YieldMax funds, but basically, bro, they sell covered calls on the underlying stock. That's how they make money. And so, for example, Nvidia sells covered calls on Nvidia. And today Nvidia pumped after earnings. I think it was like $1.42. So this after hours is delayed. It pumped to $1.42. Maybe it dropped after that. But so when I buy YieldMax funds, I want to know what they're selling the covered calls against. And so all these earnings charts and EPS and all of that good stuff give me a good picture when I research the company. And here you have like breakdown of the revenues, data center, automotive, gaming, software, and all of that good stuff, dividends, breakdown by region, and analyst estimates. And so all this data, all this earnings stuff, and also the compare tool. So that's all part of the premium subscription on the website, bro. And here you can actually compare two stocks side by side. So for example, here we have Microsoft and Apple, dividends, payout ratio, price charts, P and EPS. So you compare stock side by side, two stocks. Okay, so that all is part of the premium subscription on the site, and that's pretty inexpensive. That's just like around just a little bit more than $10. And by the way, you're watching this on YouTube. We actually, for YouTube viewers, there's a promo code in the description of this video. But anyway, so when YieldMax Tracker will be released publicly, the pro subscribers to DRIPCalc, they'll get some sort of limited access to this because, first of all, most of them are not even interested in YieldMax. And second, this product, it's like it takes so much time to create this. It will have its own tier subscription. And so, like, if you subscribe for a regular pro, it's not like the premium YieldMax Tracker subscription is not even created in the system yet. So I'm thinking how to give like top level details to people who already subscribe to DRIPCalc Pro, but then like the full system will have its own tier, will have its own subscription, because most people don't really need all of this information, like unless you have a lot of money invested and you really like. There's a guy on Reddit, bro. He has 51,000 shares of MSTY. Like imagine the payout he's getting, like $2 million in MSTY. So if I had $2 million in MSTY, I would probably get a subscription like this to have a pretty good idea of where the thing is going. Like if you have 100 shares, you probably don't need all of this data. And I'll be making weekly estimate videos, so you get all of that. And there's like return and dividends. He also makes daily videos on this stuff. But for people who really need this data, there will be a premium plan for that. And once it's implemented, I'm gonna sort of let people know about this. So yeah, bro. Anyway, so I think we're getting about $1.50 this cycle, probably more, $1.75. So that's my personal prediction. I'll be updating the algorithm to account for rolling P&L, and many more improvements to the system are coming up. And this will be released soon. It will be integrated into the main website, and not 100% sure how it will work out, but basically, if you are a subscriber to a pro subscription on DRIPCalc, you will have kind of top level access to all this data, and not to all of this data, top level like basic information, and then the total access will be a separate tier. So yeah, bro, thanks for watching. Good luck to everybody who is into MSTY. If you have suggestions how to improve this tool, let me know. Tell me in the comments if you have MSTY, if you want to get into it, if you like other stocks better. Again, I'm super humbled by all the support from the previous video, bro. And yeah, I'll make sure to make more videos. I'll try to make them shorter. I know I'm mumbling a lot, but because of that, I actually speed up the video, and I make it 125 speed. If that's too fast for you, you can slow it down a little bit on YouTube. It's a good thing they allow that. So yeah, all right, guys. One more thing, I promise no singing, but yeah, I still recommend people watch Return on Dividends. He is making amazing videos. Yeah. Oh, bro, something else I want to say about MSTY. So I don't know if you follow Amit Investing. So he's like pretty big on YouTube, and he's into Palantir, and actually I'm one of those guys who found out about Palantir from Amit, and it's not Amit, it's Amit. But anyway, so he has another guy who comes on his channel a lot, Steven Fiorilla, and Steve is one of the top analysts on Seeking Alpha. Like he's one of the top rated. He has a huge following, and guess what, bro? He actually started following Misty, not MicroStrategy, Misty itself, and he's taken a liking to it. He actually wrote a big article about it, and I haven't read it, but I'm going to read it, and I'm going to make some kind of you know, my thoughts on his article. But just that alone, because Steve is like super conservative. He's not into like YOLO. Let's buy 100% yield fund from YieldMax and just retire on some private island. He is very conservative about his investments. Like, and for him to like Misty, there's got to be something about it. So I'm definitely going to do a review on that article. At least I want to read it for myself to kind of like expand my knowledge horizons. And yeah, so that video will also be coming up soon. Basically, since I'm done with most of the coding, so now it's just polishing. I've also made another tool that's like a six-way compare tool. You can compare 6 stocks at once. Well, basically 5 versus SPY, but you can make it into 6 or more. So that tool is also ready, and I'm going to publish it soon. So most of the coding is done for now, and I'll have a lot more time to publish videos, make good videos for you. So make sure you subscribe, follow the channel, like the video. Let me know what you think about it, if I should make it shorter or longer. If you want me to sing, probably not, bro. But yeah, all right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.